Rosanna Pansino, the washed up baking YouTuber of yesteryear, has teamed up with a homeless woman to take down MrBeast. You might remember hearing about her a few months back about trying to cancel MrBeast again. She was on some hide and seek video that he did, and this is very insidious, but it turns out MrBeast might edit the videos to be more exciting or stuff like that. And she claims that her and Quackity were number 2 and 3, but some other people in the video got second and third place. So, you know, obviously MrBeast already should have been canceled after that, but she's going to go over some text messages or DMs that she received from somebody about their experience on another MrBeast video.
I was a contestant until the end. I also didn't accept their hush money. It was really bad. People were having seizures because they were not getting medication, even though we were promised we would. And it was 100% rigged. They presented it as though the game would be like Squid Games, basically a type of game show where all the games are an even playing field. That was not at all the case. All the games were about speed and strength, so only the young athletic males were at an advantage over the women, and elderly people were also.
And I've never seen Squid Games. I didn't watch the MrBeast video, but what did you think this was gonna be? Like, you're just gonna do jigsaw puzzles? That was just gonna be perfectly fair for everybody? Like, obviously some people are gonna have advantages and disadvantages in a game show.
Casted. To make things worse, men started realizing that they could take out the women without being eliminated. Guys started tackling and hitting women. 2 girls were tackled and passed out on the field and were dragged off to continue filming. I saw people with broken bones, stitches, etc., and most were women.
And obviously that part would be significant. If people are getting injured and MrBeast and his team, couldn't be bothered to care about that, then yeah, that's a problem. Thing is, I would like to see a little bit more evidence than they show, because essentially all we see here is that somebody DM'd Rosanna about their story. What they say is their
We were given maybe 400 calories a meal and only fed every 12 hours. Food would run out and people would fight over, steal, and hoard food. Water was scarce and kept running out as well. I had to sit with a bloody pad for 2 days before I could get undergarments and my reusable pads because I'm allergic to regular pads. We were also sleep deprived, only allowed 3 to 4 hours. We all slept on the floor in the stadium in a $10 sleeping bag. I get that people
I don't want to downplay that. If that's serious, or if that's true, it's serious. But again, I would like to see more than just DMs from somebody.
Saying it's a game show and it's not meant to be easy. I'm not saying it should be easy, but it was presented like Squid Games, where competitions were not biased and didn't exclusively cater to young athletic men. People who went signed up for Squid Games, not for American Ninja Warrior and Survivor. Why else would they cast elderly people on the show? They offered anyone who lost $1,000 to sign away their rights to join any kind of class action lawsuit of any kind. I didn't sign, so I didn't get the money. After this article came out,
Again, it'd be nice, especially if you didn't sign it. You could have taken a picture of this or anything to show us. And I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm totally open to this being real, but I would like to see more evidence, especially because right now, we already know that Ava Tyson was into all the Shadman stuff, and that's enough because it seems like MrBeast had to have known about it. He was friends with Ava and saw Shadman's art up on her wall. So it's not as if this was truly a secret and hidden from MrBeast. That's what we should be going after him for now. And if we have evidence for this stuff, sure, add that to the pile to go after MrBeast for. But until we have that, just stick to the Shadman stuff. That's more than enough.
things started blowing up, they called everyone back and decided to offer an additional $1,000 per person to make up for any of the inconveniences. They knew it was bad because they also offered to provide therapy through their insurance. And it wasn't Amazon Prime that called me, it was MrBeast's crew. We were set up to fail. And when the men started tackling people to get them out, nothing was done about it. They were not even eliminated. The game that had to do with the briefcase, it felt literally like Hunger Games. While MrBeast is standing on his podium, looking down, watching all of us peasants fight for a chance at 5 million. I know it's a game show, and I know it's not meant to be easy, but even with a waiver, it is a company's responsibility to have safety protocols in place to try to prevent injuries. That is not what was happening here.
Yeah, and that's all pretty fair. Just again, I would like to see some evidence for it because without that, let's just go after Mr. Beast for the Shadman
The
stuff.
fact that the nurses at the hospital in Las Vegas are also confirming all of the injuries that happened is proof. They did not have to sign an NDA.
And that's another thing. Where are these videos of the nurses? I did a brief search trying to find it. I didn't see anything. To me, it seems like just would make sense to include that here if apparently that's evidence that's out there.
5 of us so far have tested positive for COVID. Also, someone was allowed to go in with pink eye, which of course is also contagious. Now, this contestant has shared even more details with me, and I'll keep you updated. I have even more statements to come. And just as someone who has worked in entertainment and on sets, huge professional sets for years, I've seen people being treated different ways, but this is absolutely unacceptable.
Yep. So that's Rose's video, and you know it's serious because she's sat on the floor Trisha Paytas style. So, and then this is some woman who has Bro retweeted her story or whatever, and she uploaded this to her YouTube channel. It has like 35 subs as of this morning, and this video I think has 2,000 or 3,000 views. And then she's uploaded a follow up to this as well.
It was so much work and exhausting to just get to that point to even be in the games. And then to be kicked out, and you kind of get ostracized.
Yeah, so she just was saying it was hard to get on the show, which makes sense. You're competing for $5 million. That's going to be competitive, and you don't have to have any prerequisite skills for it. You just sign up to be on there. Yeah, it's probably going to be competitive.
The staff, like, they become really cold towards you once you're actually kicked out. MrBeast does not talk to everyone.
It's like, yeah, you're not part of the show anymore. They have a show to run. You're off. Go home.
Everybody, all his fans or anything, and I told them I wasn't. I told him that I wanted to die.
Yeah, so after she gets kicked off, she's very upset, and the staff asks her, "Are you okay?" And she says, "No, I'm not okay. I want to die."
And one of them had called a psychologist to come on set and talk to me, and that psychologist had even informed me that shows like MrBeast, and I'm assuming probably similar type game shows, they kind of destroy the contestants.
Right, yeah, all game shows are going to do that because it's an absurd amount of money that's more or less just handed to you, and that breaks people's brains. I'll show you some examples of how game shows break people's brains a little bit later.
It is extremely psychologically damaging, and I really think that it should end, or they need to redesign it in a way that is more psychologically safe, because a lot of psychological damage took place. I was prepared and planning on killing myself last night because I have already lost like everything else in my life, and being a part of the MrBeast Games just for the experience of doing fun, unique activities, it gave me something to look forward to. It gave me...
So I don't want to go too hard on this woman because it sounds like she's having a rough time already, but the idea that an adult woman with children, she mentions that she has a stepchild at the very least in one of these videos at some point, but the idea that a fully grown adult is feeling down and thinks going on a MrBeast game show is what's gonna fix things for them is ridiculous, and it makes it hard for me to take what this person says seriously when those are the kind of thoughts that they have.
Something to be really happy and excited about, and then when they ripped it away, my first thought was to try and figure out some way that maybe I can salvage it somehow. So I spoke to one of the producers and tried to see if I could at least just be on set, like maybe be able to participate but not be like a contestant to win, just so I can just experience it.
So she gets kicked off the show and she starts asking the producers like, "Oh, is there still a way I can be in the video?" It's just super weird to me. Like, you lost the game show. Like 99% of the people who are on there leave. It's over.
And he was super sweet, and I mean, okay, so 4 people were kind, but he didn't know how absolutely destroyed I really was. MrBeast, like he genuinely just wants to psychologically like disturb people.
And that's just such a ridiculous opinion. I could totally believe that he doesn't care and he's just there to make money, but the idea that he's trying to psychologically damage people just because he gets off on it or he thinks it's funny, that to me is an absurd claim to be making. Not to say that there's nobody like that in the world, but that's like a movie villain type of way of thinking.
And that's exactly what his show is. And I've heard this from a lot of reputable sources now. That show really is destroying lives. And I sadly, I'm not going to be surprised if many people from the show that he's doing currently right now end up killing themselves. Because I saw people coming in that were eliminated from...
It's just super dramatic and over the top to me. But again, let's stick to the stuff that we have evidence for, and let's not morally load this with how people are going to end themselves because of not winning money on a game show. I'm sorry, I'm not sympathetic to that argument. That just sounds ridiculous to me.
Like the following day and such, and they were so distraught. I mean, the emptiness in their eyes, it's horrifying to see people so broken and so destroyed. It's like a prison. You're like in a prison, and when the cameras are on, they tell you what to do most of the time.
Yeah, that's the part that people really hate about prison, is that you have this opportunity to win $5 million and you could leave at any time and you voluntarily signed up for it. And you can go home to your family or friends whenever you want. It's just like prison.
And just being on the show, the Beast Show, I mean, it just gave me hope that there was at least happiness to be had in life. Even if I didn't win, it was going to be a fun experience, I thought.
And that's an absurd thing for an adult to be saying, in my opinion.
And instead, it just ended up crushing and destroying me more. So, yeah, so the hotel room, it wasn't paid by me. It was a family member that was able to give me literally like their last bits of dollars.
Yeah, and so now here she's saying she's so down on her luck she can't afford a hotel room, and she's going to her family to ask for money to be on the Mr. Beast show. Like, her priorities are just so out of whack. It's insane.
Just so that I can stay here. 7 years ago or something, I was shown a Mr. Beast video, and he was giving away like money or Lamborghini to like some random person. And I told, it was my stepson that showed me that, my ex-stepson. And after he'd shown me that, I immediately said, that guy is not nice. That's very fake. And he really is not giving away that vehicle. Like, he's taking that vehicle back.
So that's what she had to say about a Mr. Beast video 5 to 7 years ago. But then now she's saying that she thought the Mr. Beast show was going to turn her life around and show her that happiness is still a real thing.
And I would not be surprised if every single one of his videos is just a fraud, just a fake act, and that nobody does win anything or get what it is that he is expressing they will. Because
yeah, and that's how she ends that video. That's a prepared video. Just trails off like that without an argument.
there apparently was an organization
This is her follow-up video that she made a couple days
there
afterwards.
to try and make sure that the games were fair, and it doesn't appear as though they did their job, because the first round was very unfair and 400 people left bawling, the majority of them bawling in tears, a lot of them lying on the floor, curled up, probably wanting to die just like I did.
And I mean, that's not really that surprising to me. You had an opportunity at millions of dollars and you lost. I would imagine lots of people cry about that. That, to me, that doesn't say much.
I had told so many staff that I was in a really bad place. This was after I had advocated on trying to stay on, and then they kept blockading me after the first producer had actually tried to keep me on the show. Then the rest of them blockaded me, and then I started getting extremely depressed because I realized that the last hope that I had on anything in my life, on being able to get my kids back or get out of being homeless and everything, got taken away from me.
Again, just saying, she really thought this MrBeast game show was going to turn her life around. As an adult, this is something that she's seriously saying and reiterating to us.
By such a simple and quick and immediate mistake. And I was willing to stay on the show. I would have volunteered on even cleaning up just to have a part in it because I wanted something to do. And they wouldn't even allow me any of that anymore. It got really super depressing. I kept telling them that I was depressed and I was suicidal. Well, I didn't say I was suicidal. I told them I wanted to die.
Just people who work for MrBeast, she's telling them these things because she lost the game show.
I kind of thought that was basically covering it. And they did call their staff psychologist or whatever on site. And that therapist had told me that what I was experiencing was very common, that nearly everyone that ever goes on those shows experiences it, and that those shows...
So again, this is just what game shows do to people. That's what the psychologist is telling her.
Should realistically be stopped because it is destroying people's lives.
Yeah, and if that's your opinion that these game shows are messed up and we shouldn't do them, then, you know, that's a fair enough opinion, but you would need to be consistent with that. It doesn't make any sense to specifically go after MrBeast for this. He's like the 8,000th guy to do a game show where you win money.
And I can understand why. In one of the orientations that I did happen to join in on, they did mention that they already knew who the winner was. It's a bit of a...
Yeah, so again, we're just supposed to care that videos are scripted. I don't care. If you care, go ahead and care. I don't care.
Game. It appears as though the winners tend to be more his friends and people that he selects or his staff select to be the winners,
and those are two very different things. Like if the prizes are going to friends or family, I would actually kind of care about that. That's a little bit weird that he's making it out to be this charitable thing where he's helping regular people, but it's actually his friends and family. But then she says people that are picked. So to me, if it's just people that they're picking because it makes for a better story or whatever, again, I don't really care about that. If it's going specifically to friends and family, that is kind of weird. I would care about that somewhat at the very least.
Anybody else that joins, you spend a lot of money and a lot of time. You get treated really bad. You go through a lot of hoops. There is so much involved. I mean, it was like 3 days of just nonstop work just to get kicked off within like 3 hours of being on the games and to get nothing.
Imagine actually, wow, 3 hours worth of work for an opportunity of millions of dollars. And that's some huge amount of work in your mind.
I got 1,000 fake dollars and then a IOU statement that stated that in 4 to 6 months or something like that, they would pay me the $1,000. They knew my situation before I came in there. They knew that I was homeless. They knew that I was really struggling. They knew I was in a hard place.
It's like, why would any of that matter? I used to manage at restaurants. I had to hire people. If they tell me they're down on their luck and they're having a hard time, I can't give them their paycheck earlier. You'll get paid when everybody else gets paid every other Friday. It sucks that you're in that position, but that doesn't change how we do payroll.
They didn't care. MrBeast and his staff, the whole company, are heartless. They are heartless, and they are monsters.
They're running a business.
And I suppose that's why they ended up with the name MrBeast.
Oh. Yeah, so this is just showing what happens to people on game shows. And so this is Deal or No Deal. If you don't know how it works, it starts off with like 30 cases, and they have different amounts of money from like 1 penny up to $1 million. You pick one at the beginning, and then you pick cases to eliminate in the hopes that at the end you have the $1 million case. And along the way, depending on if you're eliminating, the low crappy prizes, the banker will offer you a deal to kind of buy you out of the game. And so this guy, he has $1 left and $1 million left. So the banker offers him $416,000. And his family, I didn't show this part, probably can't show that much of it, but his family is shouting at it, "Oh, you got to do all this. Think of our family, and it could change our legacy," and then this sort of thing. The crowd's going wild at him. There's so much pressure on this guy.
I need a decision. Richie, Bell, for the last time tonight. Deal or no deal?
I listen to how just everybody in the crowd is shouting at him. And again, I didn't show it. His family was saying very specific, personal things to him just before this. And this is his family here. So he says no to the $416,000 offer to buy him out, and now he's going to go with what's in his case.
I hope that was a good decision. Richie, I got to ask you another question. That was the final offer. Okay. Would you like to swap cases? No.
No, I don't swap it.
And that's really brutal. That's the part that would really screw with your head, because right now the only two cases are the $1 and the $1 million, and he's sticking with the one that he picked at first. But they gave him the opportunity to pick that other one. He could have picked it, so that's always going to be in the back of his mind.
You decided to go all the way. You believed in this case. You're going without a safety net. This case either has $1 in it or it has $1 million in it. Ready, Richie?
I'm ready.
You're either going home with $1 million or $1. Richie, Bell, you are going home with
$1. So you think that's not going to mess with your head? That's brutal. That's brutal. So again, if you think that these game shows are something that we just shouldn't do, then, fair enough. I could kind of see that argument that, maybe this really does mess with people. But, that's one example. And you can see here in a little bit, yep, there's the $1 million. He could have swapped it. He has to have that in the back of his head always and forever. Could have had the $1 million so easily, just one choice. So he wins $1, and I think he gets $10,000 for some other like little bonus thing along the way. Gives a Cope fist bump, and then look at his mom there, just devastated. You think that's not going to affect the things later on down the road? And then here is from The Price is Right. This is people waiting in line to go on The Price is Right back in the day.
The Price is Right. They're all lined up on the street in sleeping bags and odd costumes. It's kind of cold, too, and it's about 10 o'clock at night.
Oops, you got.
So completely voluntarily, they're sleeping in sleeping bags on the concrete because they want to go on The Price is Right, just to watch it and to have the chance to go on there, maybe if they get picked out of the crowd. Yeah, and then so after all of this, Rosanna puts this video out about, MrBeast being all insidious and abusing and neglecting contestants. And then a day or two later, she puts out this video. I just took a couple segments out of this, but it's very odd to me that she puts this sort of thing out and then just according to her regular schedule puts out one of these cutesy little baking videos. And the way she acts just drives me nuts in general. I have a video that I'm making about this woman, unrelated to any of this, just about how she's a weirdo.
Guys, I opened it too soon. Okay, I got more batter. The first one's always just a warm-up. Oh, that looks like a little poop. This is getting thick. This is getting really thick. All right, now we're gonna scoop the batter into a greased pan over here. Oh my gosh, it's so heavy. It's like glue. Oh my goodness. Oh, I don't even know if I can. Oh my gosh. Oh my God, this is terrible. I haven't even done anything and I hate it. Keep layering. We're gonna do another layer of graham crackers, whipped cream.
This is her follow-up to the MrBeast Exposed video.
Strawberries, Grammys, whipped cream, strawberries. This cake sat overnight, so let's see what we're working with. Oh, look at the little layers. Oh, it's so cute.
The little baby voice. Oh, it drives me nuts.
Oh, let's taste it.
So, yeah. Very, very strange to me. Not sure exactly how to feel about that. But I do just think it would be better if we had more evidence for these claims, because we do have enough to go after Mr. Beast for, with him almost certainly being aware of Ava being into Shadman's art. So if there's evidence for this, then I'm totally down to add this to the things that we go after Mr. Beast for. But without that, and especially with this particular woman and just other ideas that she has, it's hard for me to put a lot of stock in what she says. Not to say it's not true or any of that. And if it is, I'm totally willing to say I was wrong and this is serious and we should pay attention to that. But up until then, it seems odd to me. It seems odd, and I think we should have more evidence